This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. I'm Pio Ontiveros. Tonight on the program, the oldest bank in the country scrambles to fix a glitch as unauthorized transactions throw clients into a panic. Questions shroud what Maute fighters did at the Marawi hospital, but new footage from the scene are telling. 5 days after the attack on Resorts World Manila, PAGCOR claims the casino ignored a security advisory. And American celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain believes this local bar chow is poised for international stardom. Long lines at the Bank of the Philippine Islands, or BPI, today after its clients complained of problems in their transactions. Some were surprised to find out their accounts were debited. Some had zero balances. Others saw their deposits doubled. Clients also concerned about automated teller machines that did not work, as well as their inability to access the bank's website. The technical glitch is getting mixed reactions online. Twitter user Vanessa Mendoza says, quote, "One cannot just ignore this type of an alarming issue. Please fix this ASAP, BPI. I still cannot access my account," unquote. John Nicolas writes, quote, "Yari BPI ko, 2K na nga lang naman, nag-negative pa," unquote. Irwin Oroseo, meanwhile, asks all bank customers to be patient, not to make transactions first, and to let the BPI team finish its reconfigurations today. Our senior correspondent Ruth Cabal spoke to BPI Senior Vice President Catherine Santamaria about what the bank is doing to make sure all records of its clients are in order. Let's watch this.
So first of all, we want to apologize to the public because of this incident that happened. It is an internal data processing issue wherein last night, as they were processing what you read or what we put out, was that for that period, there were either clients who got double debited, which means nag-withdraw, nabawasan ng pera. Other clients, baliktad naman, na-credit. So that means nag-dumoble ang pera nila. No? So it happened both ways. Now, for those that we see that are posting on social, their major concern is that they saw their monies getting debited, or it's showing either negative or deductions. So immediately this morning, actually, the whole senior team was already put together, and we had to put down all our electronic channels so that we can address the situation. It is an internal data processing issue. It is not a hack or scam, as you mentioned. It is actually something that we internally saw and have to address. We want to reassure the public that at BPI we have the highest standard of security. In fact, we are so strict because we really, really value our clients, and we want to make sure that they trust us when we do this, when they do any transaction with us.
So when you say internal, it's a system within the bank, hindi po nanggaling sa third party or outside?
Hindi po. Internally po, may nagkamali. Yun po nangyari.
Kasi there were also reports that there were parang phishing, or there were unauthorized emails that were supposedly sent out to clients.
Okay. As we speak, actually, since this morning, nagmo-monitor kami po ng mga nangyayari, no? So, we want to remind all our clients na, alam mo naman, sa situation na ganito, people actually try to abuse the situation. And because we are very cautious, we want to remind all our clients not to give any information online. We have said this since months ago, addressing the phishing issue. This has nothing to do with phishing, nothing to do with scam, nothing to do with hacking. Internal po talaga. So all our branches are open. Number two, our ATMs, electronic channel, online, mobile, have been really put down temporarily within the day, so that we will be able to immediately rectify the issue.
Yung assurance po na maibabalik yung pera, wala pong nawalang pera?
Walang nawalang pera. Wala po. Walang lalabas dito na may nawalang pera. Wala po. We will make sure that all our clients who were affected by this will be that the accounts will be corrected by the end of the day.
Paano naman po yung nadagdagan naman yung pera?
Yun din, sinasabi namin, sana po yung mga nadagdagan ng pera, wag po nilang galawin. Alam nyo naman po kung pera nyo yun or hindi nyo pera, no?
Those that were affected were with transactions from April 27 to May 2? Paki-explain po.
Kasi nga error, kaya namin alam yung period. So nakita nila na yun po yung mga transactions na nadoble. Either na debit or na credit.
So kung kunyari ako, kahapon ako nag-withdraw, hindi maapektuhan yung...
Yes.
Okay.
So hindi po lahat ng BPI clients naapektuhan. Meron pong naapektuhan, meron pong hindi.
They're saying it's mostly payroll or kasama po ba lahat, including personal and...
Actually, as long as you made the transaction.
Within those dates?
Those dates, yes.
So, hindi nyo po na-monitor how many or how much money is
Siyempre
involved?
po, meron po kami. Kaya lang, it's not something that we share publicly.
Is this the first time that this happened? Ganito po kalaking medyo glitch?
Oo. Kasi usually, ang usual na pag kami is that the problem that we face is nag-down yung system. Ibig sabihin, walang ATM or walang electronic channel. At ngayon, lahat na ng public yun ang gusto. It's more of that. For this internal issue where we say it's really an internal data processing issue, it's really a mistake. Tao lang po. So, it is something that we are looking into to make sure that we put it, parang hindi siya talaga nangyayari, di ba? So, it's really a glitch. It should not happen. I can reassure the public that we at BPI have the highest standards when it comes to security, making sure we have client confidentiality, making sure that we give our clients utmost privacy.
In the wake of the system glitches, the bank posted a job opening for an IT security specialist. Also, in its latest advisory, the bank says all branches of BPI and BPI Family Savings Bank all over the country will remain open until 7:30 tonight. Now on to another big story. Authorities are making sure areas previously occupied by Maute fighters in Marawi City are safe during a clearing operation. They obtained a security camera footage that showed how the terrorists forced their way into a government hospital. Our George Quiles joins us from Marawi. George, can you tell us what happened then?
Well, authorities are now preparing for the reopening of Amay Pakpak Medical Center here in Marawi City. They said that this is the main hospital in the province and is essential in reestablishing normalcy here as the crisis drags on. Now, CNN Philippines managed to get a security camera footage outside the hospital when Maute fighters attacked the facility on May 23. This security camera footage shows Maute fighters attacking government-owned Amay Pakpak Medical Center on May 23rd. One by one, armed men, including this man in yellow shirt, go through the gate. Few minutes later, more armed men appear near the facility. With them, a man who appears to be a policeman in his athletic uniform. He's Senior Inspector Freddy Solar, the Deputy Police Chief of Marawi City. Hands raised, Solar tries to escape. But the video did not capture the scene when the armed men shot Solar. 16 days after the attack, authorities are clearing areas around the hospital.
That's why we're doing this clearing operation para mabalik sa normal yung situation natin dito within this area.
They force open locked doors of houses as they scour houses in search of firearms, contrabands, and even Maute remnants. They mark each cleared house.
When I say okay, may mga positive results naman tayong nakukuha. And just like report sa akin doon kanina, may nakuhang isang barel. And ongoing naman. And wala pa naman tayong nakikitang mga masasabi nating suspect na gagawa ng active shooting.
With security in place, authorities are assessing if the medical center may reopen. A small step to get the city back on its feet. It's the 16th day of the crisis here in Marawi and hostilities continue. Aside from the firefight at the city center, jets continue to drop bombs. Now, AFP Western Mindanao Commander Lieutenant General Carlito Galvez told reporters in Camp Aguinaldo that skirmishes are still happening in 25 to 30% of the city. He says the area of the firefight is around 3 kilometers by 3 kilometers. But Task Force Marawi spokesman Joe R. Herrera says troops are continuously gaining ground against the Maute fighters. Here's a portion of our interview.
Marami tayong na-takedown na snipers, okay? Marami tayong na-takedown na machine gunners and other defensive positions. So maganda yung execute ng mission natin. Very precise, even our surgical operations. Napakalaki ang tulong ng airstrikes to diminish yung potential or rather diminish the quality of the defensive positions of the enemy.
Pia.
Well, George, the government imposed but failed to meet two deadlines to overcome Maute. Did the government give now any definite time as to when this crisis is going to end?
Well, still no definite answer to that question, but Herrera says the end is getting near. Pia.
George Cahilas reporting there from Marawi. Now here's the world at a glance. Iran state media report there were multiple attacks in the capital of Tehran. Reports say a woman was arrested after a bomb attack and a shooting spree wounded 2 people at the Ayatollah Khomeini mausoleum south of the city. That attack came as a shooting incident happened in the Iranian parliament in which at least 3 people were injured after an attacker stormed the building. U.S. investigators reportedly believe Russian hackers contributed to a crisis among America's closest Gulf allies. Qatari and U.S. officials tell CNN the FBI recently sent a team of investigators to the capital of Qatar. The team is supposedly helping the Qatari government investigate an alleged hacking incident. Investigators believe Russian hackers breached Qatar's state news agency and planted a false news report. A total of 8 nations moved to indefinitely cut ties with Doha, partly in reaction to the false report. And North Korea accusing U.S. President Donald Trump of being selfish over the Paris Climate Pact. In a statement Tuesday, Pyongyang said Washington's withdrawal from the agreement represented, quote, the height of egoism and moral vacuum, seeking only their own well-being, even at the cost of the entire planet, unquote. A spokesman for the North Korean Ministry of Foreign Affairs said such selfish acts of the U.S. have grave consequences for the international efforts to protect the environment and poses great danger to other areas as well.
You're witness to the kind of character your chief security has, and it involves the lives of people.
Lawmakers grill the management and security officials of Resorts World Manila after a deadly attack. Who should be held liable? And later, the secret to winning the gold in a one-of-a-kind dragon boat competition. You're watching Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome to our Facebook Live here on CNN Philippines Newsnight. A little bit of a recap first on our top story. Of course, that the glitch in BPI systems that caused many people, many of its clients to panic. There were unauthorized withdrawals, quite a number of unauthorized deposits, if you will, certain amounts being credited or debited from certain accounts. The bank announced that all its branches, that both BPI and BPI Family Bank, will remain open until 7:30 tonight to attend to all complaints, all requests for assistance from different clients. We'd like to say hello also to some of our viewers, Saiki Uchimura, who's watching from Japan, Larry Nakano, also watching from Japan, Jean Love, watching from Germany. Thank you very much for joining us tonight here on CNN Philippines Newsnight. Tell us what you think of our stories. Of course, like we said, the big stories today, the BPI glitch and Marawi, still a crisis that hasn't been resolved as of today. This is Newsnight on CNN Philippines. Roads are wet due to isolated rain showers here in Metro Manila. Let's check how this is affecting traffic first. Taft Avenue and Pedro Hill Street. If you're southbound this evening, check the right side of your screens. Traffic still manageable towards Hill Puyat Avenue. On the left side, we're seeing slowdowns approaching the intersection. Traffic becomes moderate to heavy heading north of Luneta. Let's move to the elevated stretch of Andrews Avenue in Pasay City. Expect a smooth drive if you're heading to and from the IA Terminals 1 and 2. Traffic green and go on all lanes. The House of Representatives kicks off a joint investigation on the deadly Resorts World attack. Members of the Committees on Public Order, Games and Tourism grilled representatives from the casino hotel for supposed security lapses leading to the tragedy. Let's bring in our Joyce Ilas live from the IA Terminal 3. Joyce, what happened?
Pia, as of now, the hearing is still ongoing. The House Committees on Public Order, Games and Tourism have already spent more than 9 hours discussing the deadly Resorts World Manila attack and what went wrong. Now, today's hearing focused primarily on the security lapses on the part of Resorts World Manila. Officials of Resorts World Manila and the Philippine National Police point fingers at each other when asked why it took 6 hours to find Jesse Carlos, the lone gunman who went on a rampage in the casino hotel last Friday. In a congressional hearing at NAIA 3, Resorts World Manila President Kingson Shan says they had eyes on Carlos the entire time through a second surveillance camera control room at the Remington Hotel. But NCRPO Chief Director Oscar Albayalde says he found out there's a second control room almost 4 hours after the attack began.
I asked personally the security officer where their CCTVs are. He told me that the CCTVs were all already full of smoke and there were no person in those rooms anymore. So they did not tell me that they have the secondary CCTV or the redundant CCTV room.
Alam ho nung mga police na merong CCTV because ginaguide ho namin sila eh. So hindi namin ho ma-corner yung we will not be able to corner the assailant if we did not able to spot him through CCTV.
House Majority Leader Rudy Fariñas scolded Resorts World Manila for failing to inform the police about this.
Why did we not bring them to the CCTV room?
Yes.
Well, I think it's incumbent upon them to tell us whether they want to go.
He also scolded the police for not reviewing the security protocols in Resorts World Manila. Romeo Acop, chairman of the House Committee on Public Order, reprimanded Resorts World Manila Chief Security Officer Armin Gomez for lying. Gomez had repeatedly said he finished college with a business management degree, but on pain of being held in contempt.
Are you a graduate or not? Let's end this.
The simple is no.
You're witness to the kind of character your chief security has. And it involves the lives of people, especially Filipino people and visitors to this country.
House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez wanted to know if Resorts World Manila should have its franchise revoked. Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation Chairman Andrea Domingo said Resorts World Manila ignored an order to increase hotel security. The order was issued on May 24 after President Rodrigo Duterte declared martial law in Mindanao.
There's hardly any presence in that area of adequate and competent and properly equipped security personnel. And this can be seen from their video that we saw yesterday.
Domingo says they will decide on the penalty for Resorts World Manila on Friday after the investigation is completed. It's been a long hearing, but some congressmen still have questions left unanswered. This is why in the next hearing, they want to invite a business tycoon, Andrew Tan, who is also one of the owners of Resorts World Manila. Some of them also want to invite officials from the Bureau of Fire Protection and also the Lady Guard who was manning the entrance where Jesse Carlos entered on the night of the attack. Pia?
Joyce Ilas there reporting from NAIA Terminal 3 where that House investigation on the Resorts World attack was held. We now go above and beyond the headlines with PAGCOR Chair Andrea Domingo, who was at that House hearing. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening, Pia.
Well, ma'am, let's begin with this. You said during the hearing that Resorts World had, in so many words, ignored a security advisory. What was in that security advisory first?
On May 24, we issued a security advisory telling them because of what's happening in Mindanao, they have to be strengthened and heighten their security measures and awareness. And then also that they should observe local government regulations pertaining to this, like curfews and all of that. So we were telling them, be more aware, beef up your security.
Yeah. And you did this for all the casinos?
Yes.
All hotels that host
Yes, we did.
Casinos.
Including our own casinos.
Yeah. And you presume that the others follow the instructions?
Yes, because
or at least
I tried to check. I went into one of the IRs and...
IRs meaning?
Meaning integrated resort casinos. And they know who I am, but I still went through the electronic device and then they still inspected my bag. So I knew that they were being strict. Because usually they tell you to just go pass through.
Okay. Let's talk about the report that you said you were preparing, that you are going to be submitting to the Office of the President.
Yes.
So let's begin with what is in the report, the contents.
The report is a summary of what happened from the time the siege happened until the end, which was at 12:07 until 6 o'clock in the morning. And then from there, we pointed out some of the weaknesses and some of the things that could have been done but not have not been done. And in the summary report, in the summary of findings, we found out that there's really laxity or lack of proper security and safety features that should have been observed by Resorts World, particularly in the mall entrance. In the casino entrance in front, they have double the glass doors and they really search, and you have to line up and search. But at the back,
which is where the gunman passed.
Yeah, this is the weakness.
Yeah.
This is where the gunman went.
So it was like a porous border.
Yes.
Madali siya nakapasok.
Wala talagang security.
Well, you also have some findings about communications, no? Or the lack of it?
It seems that there is no unified command. There was nobody really harmonizing what to do because the CCTV people of Resorts World were saying that we know exactly where he is because I saw every minute the gunman was around, they knew where he is. And there were the policemen who were there from 2:20, 2:28, and 12:47 because they were, they came in 3 tranches. But there was, the gunman stayed in the fire exit. From the 3rd floor, where he took escalator and he went down the basement after burning, and then went up again. It's more than 2 hours, and nobody.
In other words, somebody could have engaged him.
Yeah,
or
nobody
stopped
engaged him,
and/or stopped
except on 2 occasions, 2 brief fire fights where the 2 security guards of Resorts World really engaged him, and one of them was wounded.
Yeah.
But again, when he went up to the 5th floor using the same stairs, he stayed there for almost from 1:11 to 6:30, I think. So that's more than 5 hours.
Did you feel that the responses during the House hearing today were sufficient to explain why that length of time before they could get the gunman? Or at least get to him?
I'm still looking for answers to that.
Okay. And this is a report that you will be submitting to the Office of the President.
Yes.
How thick is it? How many pages?
It's a very long report because we wanted to be thorough. Because, we're balancing here, of course, we cannot discount the death of many people. But we're also balancing here the business aspect of it. Like it could affect tourism. So we really want to be very, very thorough and very, very objective.
Yeah. Earlier when I was asking you how thick is it, how many pages, you were gesturing with your hand. It's parang
Siguro
1 inch, 2 inches.
Mga 20 pages.
20 pages. Yeah. Okay. And like we said, you will be submitting it to the Office of the President. But the decision, and you mentioned this during the hearing, that to what you're going to do with the casino itself, no, if you will allow it to continue operating, will rest on the rest of the board. You have a 5-member board,
yes,
right? Okay, and your recommendation will be what?
Suspension until they would have satisfactorily and convince us that they have put the necessary and sufficient security and safety measures so that this thing will not happen again.
What internal measure? Just one last question, very brief answer. What internal measure should they take
They
in
should,
terms of dealing
well, they
with
should
their
have more
employees?
competent, more courageous security guards posted at all entrance and exits.
All right. Andre Domingo Pagcor, ma'am, thank you very much for joining us. Salamat po. Aside from the loss of lives and massive destruction, another emerging concern in the now 2-week-long Marawi crisis is the future of its children. The crisis forced schools to remain closed, putting the education of thousands of school children on hold. Our senior correspondent David Santos joins us now for more on this. David, it remains to be seen how soon the situation can go back to normal in Marawi. Tell us how children there are coping.
Well, Pia, there have been proposals to move the school opening until things indeed get back to normal. But with so much uncertainty now here in Marawi, some kids can no longer wait for that to happen. While most children of their age are now in schools, these Marawi kids play in the hallway of this government building, which was converted into an evacuation camp. We meet Aslima, 13, wearing her school shirt over her pink jacket and hijab. Aslima is looking forward to the new school year. But now, she isn't sure if there's a school she can return to.
Kung matapos ito na saan kami mag-aral, wala na.
The Marawi fighting shuts down almost 70 public elementary and secondary schools in the city. That's affecting more than 21,000 students, almost a third of them in high school. Some enrolled in adjacent towns.
So how are you today?
At the Pantar Elementary School, about 15 minutes away from Marawi, the annual enrollment of about 800 students has risen by half. As in most public schools, the number is now way beyond the school's capacity. But an official says there's no way they can decline more students, not those from Marawi.
It is very important to us. Why? Because most of the pupils, yung mga pupils na FDR out of school youth, pwede sila ma-recruit ng ganyan, mga Maute or mga ISIS or whatever nga mga terrorist dyan.
These are some of the artworks Marawi children made during a group therapy session. They clearly bear the scars of traumatic experience. People fleeing, military planes dropping bombs, houses in flames, even the ISIS flag. Some had messages calling for an end to the conflict.
Gusto kong tigil ng mga gulo kasi may nasira silang mga area-area ng wadang kinalaman sa kanilang gulo.
10-year-old Ayman's depiction of the crisis as two people running for their lives. It's a pretty detailed sketch, quite impressive for his age. He dreams of becoming an engineer, he says. Amid the horrible destruction of Marawi, Ayman tells me of his dreams to someday help rebuild his city. Well, as in most social services here in Marawi, there is no word yet when the city's public schools will reopen. Everything still relies on how soon the government can put an end to this crisis. But as one school official we spoke to, education, keeping children in school, is another important front line in fighting extremism here in Marawi. Pia.
David Santos reporting from Marawi. Now, after the diplomatic fallout with 7 countries, the Qatari government finally speaks up. And what will happen to the more than 200,000 Filipinos working in the tiny but oil-rich Arab state? And later, Lea Salonga is returning to the Tony Award stage. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome back to Facebook Live here on CNN Philippines Newsnight. In the next segment of the show, we're going to tell you what's happening in Qatar. 7 countries in a diplomatic fallout with that tiny Arab state. Of course, that will mean, however, that some jobs of several overseas Filipino workers, quite a number of them, about 200,000 there, probably will be affected. But the Qatari government now speaking up and saying there's something strange that they suspect that there was some Russian hacking also into their state news agency, which came out with that planted fake news story. We're going to tell you more about that and how that all unfolded. We're also getting very strong reactions to our story on the BPI glitch, which caused panic among the bank's clients. Like we said earlier, the bank had announced that all BPI and BPI family bank branches all over the country are going to remain open until 7:30 tonight so that they can attend to all your concerns. Also, they did, the BPI did post a job opening for an IT security specialist. We'd like to say hello to Lenny Lim, who's watching from Thailand, Leo Rama Cario watching from California in the U.S. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. We appreciate your presence. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. I'm Pio Ontiveros. Our top stories: the oldest bank in the country scrambles to fix a glitch as unauthorized transactions throw clients into a panic. The Bank of the Philippine Islands extends banking hours to 7:30 this evening in all its branches nationwide to assist affected customers. Questions shroud what Mauta fighters did at the Marawi hospital, but new footage from the government still assessing the Middle East fallout after 8 neighbors cut ties with Qatar over its alleged links to terror groups. While the country is not involved in the diplomatic row, it has an estimated 250,000 workers in Qatar whose jobs and lives could be at risk. Claire Yao has the latest.
Qatar is facing a full-scale diplomatic battle with Arab neighbors, but thousands of Filipinos are still bent on working there. The latest advisory from the Philippine Overseas Labor Office appeals to the government to lift the temporary ban on Filipino workers bound for Qatar. The Qatari government assures the public things are back to normal after the initial panic when 7 neighbors announced they are cutting ties with the tiny oil-rich state. It says the country has enough food and prices are stable. There's no need to stock up on basic goods. This after OFWs posted photos of store shelves completely empty and people carting away piles of groceries. Air travel continues even though neighboring countries have closed off their airspace to Qatar. Air traffic watcher flight radar shows Qatar flights having to take a detour and flying over Iran because of the airspace ban.
I assure Your Excellency that your countrymen will be safe here.
Some 240,000 Filipinos are working in Qatar, and there could be more, with pending contracts for Filipino medical and school staff. However, things are getting complicated for some workers. The labor attaché says there are unconfirmed reports Qatar will send away Egyptian residents. This could leave many Filipino domestic workers without employers, and worse, without accommodations, pay, and work permits. The Department of Labor and Employment is still in talks with government agencies about the situation in Qatar. Until then, the travel ban will stay. No exceptions, even for workers with ongoing contracts and returning from vacations. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello says it's better to be safe than sorry.
Sabi ko dun sa crisis committee, we'll have to have a hour-by-hour assessment of the situation. So kailangan tuloy-tuloy yan. Baka mamaya nilip ko, biglang nagkaputukan, napatay ako.
Dole is offering assistance to OFWs in Qatar who wish to go home voluntarily. Bello says there aren't any takers yet. Claire Yao, CNN Philippines.
Secretary Bello clarifies the suspension of the deployment is lifted for returning workers and direct hires. Now, several countries severed ties with Qatar over terrorism concerns. But speaking to CNN's Becky Anderson, the Qatari foreign minister said the claims are baseless. He stressed the strategic choice of Qatar is to solve any crisis through dialogue.
President Trump today tweeted the following: "During my recent trip to the Middle East, I stated that there can no longer be funding of radical ideology. Leaders pointed to Qatar. Look! Exclamation mark. Does Qatar fund and support Islamist terrorism, sir?"
President Trump said that he's talking about combating funding of Islamist ideology, and all of us, we are combating the funding of any terrorist groups. And actually, during the conversation with the President of the United States, between him and His Highness, he has raised this issue that the funding of terrorism need to be stopped by different countries, and he told us that I read a lot of reports that mentioning Qatar and Saudi and other countries, and we told him that those reports based on media information, which is not really based on evidence, and we are willing to sit and talk.
All right, well.
Again, that was CNN's Becky Anderson speaking with the Qatari foreign minister. Filipino athletes continue to dominate the world of dragon boat racing, and this time even persons with disabilities prove that they too can become champions. This PAD's adaptive dragon boat team from Cebu gave the Philippines its first gold medal at the CCB Asian Hong Kong International Dragon Boat Race last Sunday. The team is composed of 28 crew members, all of them persons with disability, amputees, deaf, polio survivors, blind, and other physically impaired individuals. During the championship round, they fought against 6 other teams from Hong Kong, the UK, and Australia, with a winning race time of just 1 minute and 43 seconds. This is the first time the Philippines participated in the 400-meter para-dragon category for PWDs. Now, in this video, team member Karen Jane Dianon, who is deaf, used sign language to send her message to her kababayan. She says, and I quote, "We would like to thank everyone with all our hearts. We love you all. We are champions." Long lines at the Bank of the Philippine Islands today after a system glitch, but the bank says it will be resolved within the day. And later, Anthony Bourdain can't help but love this tasty local dish. All these when we return. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome back. Facebook Live here in CNN Philippines Newsnight. Of course, our top story, the BPI glitch. Many people complaining, of course, about the unauthorized withdrawals or debits from their accounts. Some people a little bit amused that there were credits to their accounts. But this is something that BPI said is just a glitch, no hacking, no scam, no nothing, no conspiracy theory or anything. It was just something internal to the bank, which they are fixing, they say. As a matter of fact, they said that they've kept branches of BPI and BPI Family Bank all over the country open until 7:30 tonight. So that gives you, if you are a BPI customer or a client, that opportunity to go to the bank. If you are, like we said, a BPI client, please tell us your experience. Tell us what happened today. You can comment in the comment section down below. We'd like to say hello to Nits Dangan, who is watching from Thailand. Persephone, very rare name, very nice. Castillejos watching from Pasig City. Ligaya Leoncito watching from Kuwait. Tell us what you think of the top stories. Like we said, the BPI glitch, also the Marawi crisis on its second week, and of course the Resorts World attack investigation by joint committees of the House of Representatives. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Welcome back. The Bank of the Philippine Islands suffered a system error, giving clients a panic attack today. Some saw strange withdrawals or debits from their accounts. Others had double deposits. Our senior correspondent, Ruth Cabal, tells us how the bank is handling this internal glitch.
Many woke up to social media posts of BPI customers complaining about problems in their accounts. Some said money was debited, but they had not made a withdrawal. Others reported zero or even negative balance. A few were happily surprised to see deposits of funds they didn't have. Whatever the case, account holders made a beeline for the nearest BPI branch.
Yun nga po, nababawasan daw yung account na ano. Kaya nagpabalance yung ate ko. Kaya lang offline po.
Tatlo.
Tapos?
Pare-parehong offline. Walang lumalabas na account balance.
BPI management confirmed there were double debits or credits in certain accounts because of an internal system error. But these errors were just mispostings, reflected on bank transaction records and not on the actual money of depositors.
It is an internal data processing issue. It is not a hack or scam.
Hindi po nawala ang pera nyo. We will make sure na nakabalik. Paper lang po yun, hindi po, wala pong nakakuha ng pera nyo. For those that had double crediting, we ask you, please, don't touch the money.
Santa Maria stresses not all accounts are affected, only those with transactions in BPI and BPI Family Bank from April 27 to May 2 for all types of accounts, payroll, personal, and others. Santa Maria admits the glitch may have been caused by the bank's own people.
Every day, we actually do batch processing. So somewhere in that process this morning or midnight, there was an error. Someone must have touched something. It's a system, so we're still assessing if it was a specific human error.
BPI shut down all electronic channels like ATM, online, and mobile banking to speed up correction of balances. But it continued to accept over-the-counter transactions such as withdrawals and deposits. BPI assures it's in the process of correcting the balances of clients, returning money that was debited, and taking back money that was credited. It says the problem will be resolved within the day. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas confirms the error, dismissing talk of hacking. It says no other bank had any problems.
Of course, the BSP will also investigate and look into the matter. What were the operational lapses that led to that, so that we can also come to our own conclusions and see what action we need to take, or also make sure that measures are in place to prevent these things from happening.
In particular, the BSP will look into possible operational lapses and breaches in technology risk management regulations. Ruth Cabal, CNN Philippines.
House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez and some other congressmen believe the Resorts World Manila incident was an act of terror. Police are saying otherwise, but they say they are looking deeper into it. Cecil Lardizabal reports.
What we need to know is whether or not he is connected with certain group that we could ascribe as terrorists.
Some congressmen are not buying the official line on the Resorts World attack, that it was not an act of terrorism. Police officials ruled out terrorism because it was committed by a lone gambling addict with financial and personal problems. They say they are conducting a deeper investigation.
As of this time, we have not received or gotten any information whatsoever that this person is connected to anybody else or to any terror group.
House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez is among those taking the terrorism angle.
Will you consider this an act of terrorism?
The act of the deaths that were caused during the incident in this Resort World, the deaths were incidental po dun sa pagsusunog.
Was the act of the assailant did it cause terror to the people?
Yes, sir, of course.
Kung nag-cause ng terror, so anong tawag natin doon?
Alvarez had issued a statement condemning terrorism and the tragic incident, both after the attack and before the gunman was identified. But the police are standing their ground. They say the incident could not be compared to the Marawi siege that destroyed property and killed civilians.
Not until we see that there are political or social objective dito sa incident na to, we cannot say that it's terrorism. But I do not want also, of course, to argue with the good speaker.
Cecil Lardizabal, CNN Philippines.
Now in Marawi City, no certainty when the war in that city would end, even as it suffers from destruction. But in this report, our senior correspondent Ina Andalong tells us small steps towards rehabilitation could begin soon.
It's a common sight in war-torn cities in the Middle East, once held by terrorist groups. But this time, it's a scene out of Marawi. What used to be a school building is now an abandoned structure peppered with bullet holes. Its walls collapse. As the military presses on against the terrorists, there is hope the situation could soon go back to normal.
We are working closely with local government that in cleared areas, they can come in to start the slow process of rehabilitation reconstruction.
How soon? The military is not setting a timetable as safety remains a concern. AFP spokesman Restituto Padilla could only say the process is going to be slow.
Definitely, priorities for reconstruction and rehabilitation will go to the basic services. So that means to say sanitation and water and health.
As the fighting rages in the city center, no one could tell the extent of destruction at this point. But this early, officials say private institutions can help in rehabilitation efforts.
6 big business organizations have already expressed an interest, even in the repair of the school buildings, that is, if these are damaged, financial assistance.
A number of private organizations are currently working together in providing relief supplies for displaced people, from food, potable water, hygiene kits, and sleepers. Relief operations are happening in Iligan and border towns to Marawi like Pantar and Sagyaran. They hope to move in closer to ground zero to see where else they can be of service.
We have a very wide network of companies also involved heavily in development, construction, etc. So definitely we will be asking help from these kapatids to come in.
Help offered should be consolidated to avoid redundancy of projects. Livelihood programs are also on the way. All these aimed at restoring from the ruins, perhaps even more. Ina Andalong, CNN Philippines.
The military now holding the father of the Maute brothers, Will Kayamora Maute, also faced rebellion charges. You're watching Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. A setback. Welcome back to Facebook Live. We'd like to say hello to Kate Angeli, who is watching from Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, Flordelisa Rafales watching from Hanoi in Vietnam, Aga Villarba watching from London in the United Kingdom. Please tell us what you think of the stories tonight, and also tell us if you are or you do have accounts with the BPI and what your experience with the bank was like today. You're watching Newsnight. President Duterte visited another military camp. This time he spoke before the 1st Mechanized Infantry Brigade in Camp Leono in Tacurong City, Sultan Kudarat. This is part of Mr. Duterte's efforts to boost troop morale in the fight against terrorism. Angel Limario followed the president. Angel, what did the president say?
Remain steadfast in protecting the people. That's the message of President Duterte to soldiers here at Camp Leono in Tacurong City. He assures them that the Filipino people are with them. And to demonstrate that he too is with them, the president gave out his business card. Call me if you need anything, he tells the soldiers here at Camp Leono. He again mentions this 20 billion peso foundation that he plans to set up for the education of soldiers, of children, and he says that he plans to add 30 billion pesos more to the fund. And the president points out that he will not talk anymore with the local terror group Maute, given the number of the slain soldiers and police officers. And he mentioned something about nanay ni Maute or mother of Maute, but he did not elaborate. And the president says that he will only talk to MILF, MNLF, and NPA if they're able to produce a document that he is asking. But he tells the NPA members that if they want to join the government side, they will take them in as soldiers. And the president reiterates that he is a president for peace, and he admits that he gets hurt every time a Filipino is killed. Here's the president in his own words.
Kaya sabi nila na mag-usap, yung nanay ni Maute, sabi ko, no, I will not talk anymore kasi marami na ang sundalo ko namatay. Marami na ang pulis ko namatay. Huwag mo akong bulahin dyan, usap-usap na yan. Not anymore. Pagkatapos dyan, mag-usap tayo.
President Duterte reiterates he can flatten Marawi City within 24 hours or in 2 days, but he can't because there are rules that must be followed and innocent lives that must be saved. Pia.
Angela Mario there reporting from Sultan Kudarat. 7 vehicles supposedly carrying explosives are under the watch or on the watch list of the PNP Maritime Group. And in Davao City, the military takes custody of the father of the Maute brothers. These and other regional stories from Nicolette Henson-Hizon.
Authorities in Davao City are transferring the Maute patriarch to an undisclosed detention facility for security reasons. The military is taking custody of 67-year-old Kayamora Maute. He is the father of Omar and Abdullah, whose fighters attacked Marawi City. The elder Maute denied knowledge of his son's activities. No word yet on the place of detention for 4 other suspects who were with Maute and the driver of the van. The suspects will face rebellion charges. Port authorities in Negros Island are also on the lookout for at least 7 vehicles believed to be carrying explosives. The PNP Maritime Group in Zamboanga del Norte had earlier issued a watch list addressed to all shipping lines, as these vehicles may possibly be shipped via roll-on, roll-off vessels from Mindanao. The PNP Maritime Group in Negros says all 7 vehicles are registered at Metro Manila and the Cordillera Administrative Region. The first fatality in the Marawi crisis was buried at his hometown in Surigao City. Terrorists killed Senior Inspector Freddy Solar on the first day of the crisis. A native of Baguio City, Solar lived in Surigao City with his wife and 2 young children. He was the police chief of Malabang Town in Lanao del Sur. Nicolette Henson-Hizon, CNN Philippines.
The insurance company Sun Life is putting the spotlight on its clients in its latest ad campaign. The company launches a collection of 3 digital short films called Sun Shorts. All films inspired by stories of its customers who achieved financial freedom. Sun Life Chief Marketing Officer Mylene Lopa says the campaign targets millennials, parents raising their children, and middle-aged couples. Lopa tells CNN Philippines why the life insurer chose to have the short films instead of the traditional TV commercials for its new campaign.
These days, kasi a digital platform has become very popular. It's become very effective in conveying messages to the public because most people are there. So I guess it's a very convenient medium for people to use. So we also want to offer our stories there. And the short film as a platform is also effective because it allows us to tell a story. So as opposed to a 30-second TV commercial, it allows us to really tell a story and really take time to inspire the people.
The 3 films are now available online at www.sunshorts2.com. Time now for the latest in sports. The Star Hotshots headed to the semifinal round of the PBA Commissioner's Cup. Our sports desk anchor Miko Halilina joins us live. Miko, how did the Hotshots win?
I'll tell you right now, Pia. The Star Hotshots ultimately won their quarterfinal series against Rain or Shine tonight. Our correspondent Paolo Del Rosario joins us live from the Big Dome. Paolo, who made a difference for the Star Hotshots tonight?
Miko, it was a much more competitive game compared to Game 1 of the quarterfinal series. The Star Hotshots blasted Rain or Shine in Game 1, 118-82. But Rain or Shine was not having any of that this time around. Rain or shine, and the Star Hotshots contested the game very well up until the fourth quarter, when the Star Hotshots caught fire and went on a 15-3 run to end the game. Now, import Ricardo Ratliff scored 26 points and 15 rebounds to propel Star into the semifinals. In the semifinals, the Star Hotshots will face the San Miguel Beermen. Up next, we have the Meralco Bolts battling for survival against the TNT Catropa. The Catropa took game one of the series in a one-sided 102-84 win over the Bolts. A while ago, I was speaking to TNT guard Jason Castro, and he says that it was the team's effort on offense that gave them the win in game one, and they hope to continue that tonight. Miko?
Thank you, Paolo. Paolo Del Rosario reporting from the Big Dome. Tonight at 7, Adamson Lady Falcons women's volleyball head coach Eris Pada looks back at the lessons of season 79 for the Lady Falcons. We'll have that live on Sports Desk. I'm Miko Halili. Back to you, Pia.
Thank you, Miko. This tasty Filipino dish leaves Anthony Bourdain craving for more. This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Awesome. Entertainment news now. Broadway superstar Lea Salonga is ready for theater's biggest night. Salonga is leaving for New York City tonight for the 71st Tony Awards. She's one of the presenters at the awards show. In 1991, Lea bagged a Tony for playing Kim in Miss Saigon. The award-winning singer also expressed her excitement for the show. She took to Twitter to ask for a selfie with Hamilton star and creator Lin-Manuel Miranda, whom she calls Pare. Salonga is also looking forward to seeing Mark Hamill, the actor who plays Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. The 71st Tony Awards happens on June 11th at the Radio City Music Hall in New York City. And before we go, celebrity chef and TV host Anthony Bourdain traveled the world and showed us places, experiences, and cultures through food. Bourdain recently sat down with CNN Philippines to talk about his love for Filipino food, sisig to be exact. He also reveals what makes the sizzling dish shine on the international stage. Let's watch this.
I think sisig is perfectly positioned to win the hearts and minds of the world as a whole. I think it's the most likely to convince people abroad who have had no exposure to Filipino food to maybe look further and investigate further beyond sisig. I think that's the one that's going to hook them.
And that's it for tonight. Thank you for your time. I'm Pia Ontiveros. See you again tomorrow for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
This program